Candy Boost is coming next week. It's a new limited feature in Pokemon Sleep. And we still have no idea if it's actually worth it. Welcome back to another Pokemon Sleep video, it's Brovini here. From the Pokemon Sleep Twitter, we now know that during the Holiday 2023 event, the Candy Boost feature will actually be using 6 times the number of Dream Shards for you to double the effectiveness of your candies in terms of raising the level of your Pokemon. And it looks like the developers went back on their notes and changed what they said before, because now if you go back to the event note, it says using 6 times the Dream Shards. But before it said using up to 6 times the Dream Shards. So we were hopeful that it wasn't going to be a flat out 6 times the Dream Shards for the Candy Boost. And now that we know it's a flat 6 times rate of Dream Shard cost, I'm going to reiterate this next point, is that the lower the level of your Pokemon, the less it's going to cost you per candy used. And that's because the higher the level of your Pokemon, the higher the amount of Dream Shards needed per candy. And I've previously done a chart here to show you that the blue line here is the candy cost per level as you level up. So while the candy requirements go up exponentially as you level up, the requirements for Dream Shards goes up even more exponentially as you level up. And this chart here will tell you exactly how many Dream Shards are needed per candy, which is in the yellow column. So if you were to raise a Pokemon's level from level 1 to 2, 6 times 14, well, it's not very much. Just 84 Dream Shards for 1 candy to count as 2. Whereas if you were to raise a Pokemon's level at, say, level 28, for each 1 candy that you use, it will cost you 666 Dream Shards for it to count as 2 candies. And of course, it gets even worse as we head down to level 49. So you really need to consider whether this feature is for you. If you are normally lacking in Dream Shards, it may not be a good idea to keep this feature on for the event. The good news is that you can toggle the feature off, as it says in the developer's graphic here. So other than using this feature at low level, there is a second tip I've got for you guys. Which Pokemon is it best to use on? Now before I tell you what I think, let's see what my members think. If you head on over to my Discord under Sleep Info, you can see what people think they'll be using the Candy Boost feature on. So I made a poll here with a selection of different Pokemon that I think may be relevant to this Candy Boost feature. And then I asked my members to pick which one they think they'll be using the Candy Boost feature on. And as you can see, the most voted Pokemon is Larvitar. And the reason for this is probably threefold. 1, pseudo legendaries they have a higher EXP requirement, so there's a higher demand for candies. 2, Larvitar has a very high evolution level requirement to become Tyranitar. In fact, the highest of all Pokemon currently in the game at level 41. 3, the candies are generally on the rarer side. Not as common as Eevee candies, but definitely not as rare as Ditto candies. But then how come Ditto doesn't have as many votes? Well, that's probably because catching Dittos much harder to do. Myself included, I don't even have a Ditto yet, let alone catching a good Ditto to invest in. So there's not a lot of demand for Ditto candies because just not that many people have a good one. Having said that, if you have a good Ditto, this is a great way for you to get Ditto candies outside of dumping all your handy candies. So how come Eevee made it on the list? Why did I think Eevee might be relevant? Well, actually, it's not because of how common the candies are, because we know Eevee candies are very common. I'm on 1,000 Eevee candies. But the problem is, there are so many evolutions. So if you're the type of person who's been spreading out your investments over like 6 or 7 different evolutions, you're gonna need those candies. And as you can see, a few people did say that they would use the Candy Boost feature on Eevees. A number of people have said that they will use it on Spheal, Probably for similar reasons as Larvitar, because Spheal has a high evolution requirement, though it is not classified as a pseudo-legendary, so it doesn't cost as much to level up. And then I included several other Pokemon which aren't extremely common, but just for comparison's sake to see if anybody would use these Pokemon for the Candy Boost feature. Magnemite, Onix, Lucario. You can see that pretty much nobody's gonna use it on Lucario. Even though there's a lot of talk about how Lucario could potentially become useful because Dream Shard Magnet, the main skill, is getting a boost for this event week. And then we have Heracross and Absol, probably fitting into the same category as Ditto because they're just relatively rare. You're rarely going to get candies for them unless via your handy candies. So if you have a good Heracross or Absol, good idea to use the Candy Boost feature on. Sableye, very low in the ranking here. That's probably because, once again, it's a Dream Shard Magnet. And a few people have said that they simply aren't going to use this feature at all. Maybe they just felt like this 6 times Dream Shard cost was just too much. But don't forget that you get some of that back if you run a Luck Incense, which will give you a total of 4 times the Dream Shard reward from Sleep Research this week, as we know, as one of the event bonuses, which is another reason why I'm not currently going to be running a Dream Shard Magnet Pokemon, because I want to maximize my Snorlax tier, my Snorlax strength, so that I get some of the highest Drowsy power I can reach, and with higher Drowsy power, more star levels for my Pokemon, which means more Dream Shards as well, and then 4 timesing that because of Luck Incense and the event makes a lot more sense than to me, even after the Dream Shard Magnet Pokemon got a boost. Let's just take Pikachu for example. If most of your spawns are only 1 star in the sleep style, you're getting numbers as low as 20 Dream Shards per spawn. Whereas when you go up to 3 star or 4 star, you're looking about 1,000 or 1,500 Dream Shards per spawn. And then that gets times 4 because it's times 2 from the event and then times 2 again from a Luck Incense. So if you're not aiming for a large Drowsy power and only getting these 20 tiny amounts of Dream Shards times 4, you're only getting about 80 Dream Shards per spawn. Whereas I'm out here maximizing my Drowsy power, getting easily 6,000 Dream Shards per spawn. But of course I'm not saying that you'll have 8 Pikachus that are all 4 stars, but at least getting more 2 stars and 3 stars is still worth a lot more than getting a lot of 1 stars. Which brings me to recommend that you should consider using your good camp ticket to really bump up the Drowsy power of this entire week. Ideally activating on Sunday night, and then making sure that your sleep begins tracking before the end of the ticket on the Sunday after. And I know Good Sleep Day is coming the week after, but that's an event that only covers 3 days, and it happens every month, whereas a Dream Shard event, well, it's the first time of its kind. So you should try to capitalize on it as much as you can, because who knows when it will come back again. Let me know in the comments section below whether you'll be using the Candy Boost feature and on which Pokemon. Don't forget to like and subscribe.